Hello there ladies and gentlemen, it's Water83 here of the 133rd Squadron RAF Eagles in ACES High 2. Today's video is basically a tutorial on how to take off and land an aircraft in ACES High 2. I'm starting in the Zero, or the Zeke. Just got some floating trucks there, weird little glitch, but there we go. Yeah, I'm in a training arena, so there's no hassles from anyone trying to vulture me or shoot me down. Basically, quick video on how to take off and land. So I'll start in the Zero, just because it's quite an easy aircraft really to fly, no particular reason. I just felt like flying this. So we'll take off with auto takeoff enabled. We just put the throttle forward. I did explain about auto takeoff in my previous video. All it basically does is gets you off the ground easily. It's Alt and X for auto takeoff. Should be on by default when you start the game. So there we are, we've taken off. I'm not going to go too high in this video because I just want to do a circuit and land, and then I might up a bomber and do the same. So I'm just going to fly down for a bit, mess around. The thing to remember when landing is basically to control your speed. Your undercarriage will only come down at a certain speed. I think it's, well, to be safe, you're normally safe at 150 knots. So. And keep an eye on your airspeed. In the Zero, I think that is there. Right there, that's my airspeed. That's my altimeter. And yeah, so these are the important ones really. And we need flaps as well. We have flaps on the wings. I'll just slow down and put the flaps in to show you. Flaps help control the speed. If you press Q, puts them down. You can hear them going down. I'm using Mitsu sound packs, so yours may sound a bit different. And W puts them up. But with the flaps down, the more further down they are, the slower you can fly the aircraft without it stalling. But you will also need more power to maintain that speed. You can see I'm actually only flying at about 80 knots, but the aircraft is level, and if I leave off the stick it's actually climbing, so it's good for slow flight. If I look outside, you can see the flaps there on the underside of the wings. If I put them up, there you go. But with them up, lift is reduced and the aircraft will start to drop. So I'll leave them off for now. I just need more power. There's a gauge there in the bottom left of the instrument panel. It says hook up and down. It's actually your flaps on the up and down. The hook is for carrier landings. G is your undercarriage, so we'll put the wheels down like so. Again, make sure your speed's good for it, otherwise you'll rip them off. Under 150 you're definitely good. It will increase drag, so you'll need to increase throttle to maintain speed, and you can press Q to raise the nose, reduce your speed, increase lift, etc. Just put them down in stages. I've done it a bit early just for the purposes of this video. I wouldn't normally do an approach this long. And then management of your speed now. I've got flaps fully down, the gear is down, and now I'm simply going to try and keep my nose pointed towards the runway. You want to keep the runway in the same area of your screen if you can. This is a good height to be at the approach. The runway should look about that long. If you get too low, the runway should start to look shorter, like so. You see how it looks a lot shorter? If you get too high, the runway will look a lot longer. Now, that's just a good visual guide for a good approach. So anyway, we'll get back on track. Don't be scared to chop the throttle all the way if you need to push the nose down, because your speed will increase quickly if you put the throttle on. And basically you're just managing the throttle all the time, small movements on the stick and the throttle. And when you get near the ground, you want to just release the pressure on your stick or pull back a little bit and chop the throttle till you hear that. And then you're using the rudder to steer left and right. If you want, you can put the power on and off you go again. Just remember, rudder if you're not using auto takeoff, and a bit of aileron, otherwise your aircraft will crash. And gear up as soon as you lift off, and then start pressing W to put your flaps back up so you can accelerate. Quite a forgiving aircraft, the Zero. You can see it flies very slowly, still retains a lot of manoeuvrability at low speeds. So yeah, good training aircraft, I think, to learn landings in. So again, I can do a landing like this in the main arena. Gears going down, bit of flaps. You don't need the flaps, you don't have to land with them. I'll just put one notch in for this one, but you don't need them. Sometimes they get damaged, you can't put them in. But you do need, if you have less flaps, you need to approach slightly quicker, otherwise the aircraft will stall. I'll do a completely flapless approach, and I'll show you how to slow your aircraft down quickly on this one. So I'll just climb up a bit. It's always rude not to fire a few rounds, isn't it? There we go. Die. Okay, so I hope I'm not going too fast here, guys. If I am, watch it back a few times. Like I say, haven't made many videos yet. Just need some feedback, really. Hopefully you guys can learn things from these. I watched a few videos myself. Voodoo Vince, I think it is, he's made some good tutorials as well. So yeah, there's loads on online for you to watch. And if you can't find what you need help with, just ask someone. The community on Aces High is fantastic. There's forums you can go on, and anyone in game, if you've got a question, just ask. Someone will give you some really good advice. So I've climbed up here, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in. I'm going to just say you've got a con on your 6, a bad guy on your 6, and you're running for home, you're low on fuel, or maybe you're just coming in high and fast and you need to slow down quickly and land. What I do is, let me just get a bit of speed up. So I'm going way too fast to put my gear down. I'm at 300 knots at the moment. I will rip the gear off if I do it. So what I would do is basically chop your throttle and put rudder, full rudder, one way or the other, and make some violent moves on the stick. Just be careful not to stall the aircraft. So really, like, pull a lot of G's. Just see how the speed's bled off at 150. Gear down, flaps, 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 flaps. Steep angle, 100 knots, still slowing down, releasing forward pressure, and just about to hit the ground. There we go. Ooh, a bit of a bouncer, but never mind, we're safe. Then you can turn the engine off, spacebar is your brakes, and pull back on the joystick as you do in case it noses over. And then quickly before they vulture, end your sortie. There you go, job done. Just very quickly, we'll go off in a bomber we'll just pick something. All the bombers are the same, really, the big bombers. Let's just go up in ranks quickly. There we go. Yeah, so we'll just do that quickly. Just to show you the difference, the bombers are very sluggish in comparison to the fighters. There goes that glitchy convoy again. Bloody flying, man. Full power again, starts to take off. You'll have drones in a bomber. I'll go into more detail on those later. I started out in a bomber. I enjoy it. I found it a bit easier to start with. But each to their own. Some people prefer bombing, some prefer fighting. I like to do as much as I can, but I like the Lancasters. This has also got WEP, you can see, and you can see how much slower and more runway it needs, how sluggish it is getting off the ground. No violent moves with the bomber, let it accelerate, especially low down. If you put the flaps, or if you pull back now, you'll just stall and hit the ground. So let it. I usually take off with WEP on in a bomber. You don't have to, but I normally do, just to get that bit of height and just get as much height as I can, really. This should be good enough for us, just for this video. So very gentle turns as well in a bomber. You can do steep ones, but I don't recommend it because it's just not right in a Lancaster. You will lose your drones as well. They'll probably blow up, which I'm not bothered about for this. So let's try and get rid of those drones. Bye. Watch this. Get ready for the explosion. Yeah. And again. Yeah. Whoa. Eesh. So that's always a danger if you're not looking where you're going. Almost all good there. So I'll get rid of my bombs as well. It's a dud. Oh, I hit it. How satisfying does that sound? Okay, so with a bomber, the main thing to remember when landing is that they are notoriously difficult to slow down. They're a lot bigger, a lot heavier, and they take longer to react. And it's one of the things most people struggle with, actually, is slowing the bomber down. I've never really had an issue with it, but if you do, all I can recommend is, because you're normally coming from quite high up, start your descent with enough time. And don't be afraid if you're too high to just circle the airfield a couple of times in a descent. We're not going to be very high for this tutorial, but basically don't be afraid to fully chop the throttle. And I mean, they're quite slow anyway. You need to use the flaps a lot more in a bomber. You don't have to land with flaps. Again, you can do flapless landings, but flaps always help maintain lift, so you can put them in now if you want. That's the first stage gone in, second stage in, third stage, fourth stage of flaps. A flap indicator is just to the right of the engine ones there. You will need throttle if you've got the flaps in. And then of course you can put the gear down. There we go. Check the gears down with the green lights at the bottom left there. If you put them up again, you'll see yellow means the gear is moving. The red lights mean it's up. Yellow, it's moving. Green lights mean it's down. And you can see it's got a bigger turn radius as well, so really you want to get it lined up early-ish, but with a bit of practice you could bring it in like a fighter. Chopping the throttle all the way because it wants to accelerate with even the smallest bit of throttle, and easing off on the pressure, listening for the stall warning, and if I hear it I'll put a bit of power on just to control that speed. Very gently touching down on the runway. Lovely aircraft this. Fantastic. There's the tail turret, the nose turret, sorry. Another great thing about being in a bomber, you know, this is high to going into the gunner's positions. Top turret. Rear turret. You gotta love the way the Lancaster can practically shoot all the way down. I don't think that was possible. But other than that, yeah, it's a lovely aircraft. And then we'll just come back in for another landing. Do some fighter manoeuvres here, there you go. Don't do that in a bomber, will you? Each to their own. You've paid your subscription fee, you can do what you want, I suppose, but I hate seeing Lancasters treated as Stukas or whatever. It just wouldn't happen. Do a Dam Busters raid, get a bouncing bomb in the game and fly at 60 feet and blow up some Bish radar or something. That'd be cool. So here I've got a lot of speed, not really slowing down anytime soon, so lots of rudder, and look how it's bleeding off now. Rudder and aileron the opposite way. It's called cross controls. I'm flying, and then about 150 knots. Gear can go in, put it down and it'll increase drag and help slow you down. No flaps this time, I'm landing flapless, so I need to keep my speed a bit higher, maybe about 120 just to be safe, and then just pull back gently. Let it settle on the runway. Don't worry if it bounces. There we go, no bounce. About 120 knots there when I landed. And yeah, just let it slow down. Bit of spacebar for brake. There we go. Brakes are on. Brakes are on, and we are stopped. Turn your engines off. End your flight. So thanks very much for watching, guys. Hope you found that useful, and look out for some more videos. Water 83, thanks a lot.